Section 2.3, Solving Equations. To solve linear equations, you want to begin by simplifying both sides of the equation using the distributive property and combining like terms. Use the addition property to isolate the variable term. After you use the addition property, then use the multiplication property to isolate the variable. First do addition, then do multiplication. So let's solve these problems. 4x minus 8 equals 16. We don't have any simplification to be done, so let's isolate the 4x term. We need to get rid of that minus 8, so we add 8 to both sides to keep the equation in balance. That gives us 4x equals 24. Now we can multiply or divide. We're going to divide by 4. That will isolate the x. The 4's cancel, and we have x equals 6. You can always check your problem. In fact, it's an excellent idea to check your answer on a test so you'll know you got the right answer. Substitute the value back into the equation to see if it's true. Does it make a true statement? Yes. So this answer checks. This is a true answer. 3m minus 9m, those are like terms, so we can combine them. You have 3 of them minus 9 of them. That gives you negative 6m. Notice that when you're combining like terms, you simply add or subtract the numerical coefficients, the numbers out front. You begin with m's, you end with an m. We now need to get rid of that negative 6. We can do that by dividing both sides by negative 6. Then these will cancel, and you have just m equals a negative 6. A positive number divided by a negative is a negative 6. 3 minus 5y equals 2y plus 17. Let's get rid of the number 3 on the left-hand side. It's plus 3, so we can get rid of it by subtracting 3 from both sides. That will give us minus 5y equals 2y plus 14. We have y's on both sides. We can't have that. We need to get rid of this 2y on the right. Let's subtract 2y. We have to subtract it from both sides, so that gives us minus 7y equals 14. We're trying to isolate y. Let's divide by a negative 7, and we get y equals a negative 2. And once again, you can check that answer by substituting it back into the original equation to prove that it is correct. This problem has some simplification that needs to be done. We need to eliminate the parentheses on both sides by using the distributive property. So we have 3x. We have minus 2 times 2x is minus 4x. And then that minus 2 is also multiplied times the minus 5. So that will give us a positive 10, because a negative 2 times a negative 5 is a positive 10. We have to use the distributive property on the right-hand side. This 2 gets multiplied times both the x and the 3. That'll give us 2x plus 6 minus 8. Let's combine our like terms. We have like terms on the left. 3x minus 4x is minus x. You can put minus 1x if you want to. It doesn't matter. It's understood to be a 1. On the right-hand side, we combine plus 6 minus 8 minus 2. If you're having trouble with signed numbers, you need to fix that now. You can go on Khan Academy, Khan, and there are videos there about adding and subtracting signed numbers. Look up signed numbers. So we're trying to get the x terms together. We have x's on both sides. This time I'm going to add x to both sides. There's lots of different ways that you can do these problems. So if you wanted to do something else first, that's okay. Try that. As long as you take legal steps, you should get the correct answer. So we want to add 2 to both sides. So we have 12 equals 3x. We don't want that 3 there with the x. We need to get the x by itself. It's 3 times x, so we get rid of it by dividing by 3. Multiplication and division are opposite or inverse functions. So we can cancel the 3's. 12 divided by 3 is 4, so x is 4. Check that answer. Substitute it into the original equation. Here we have decimals. We have to make sure that we know how to deal with decimals. We don't want that minus 1.25 there. How about we add 1.25 to both sides? It's a like term with 7.50, so we'll write it under the 7.50. That gives us 3.2n on the left, and it gives us 8.75 on the right plus 2.6n. All right, we need to get our n's together. We have n term on the left and one on the right. So let's get rid of this one on the left by subtracting 2.6n from both sides. So that leaves us 0.6n equals 8.75. How can we solve for n here? We have 0.6 times n. How about we divide both sides by 0.6? And we get n equals 14.58. What we really get is 3333333. So we can't write all that down. We need to decide how we're going to round our answers. And just as a general rule for this class, what we'll do is we'll write down 3 decimal places. The number after our last decimal place is a 3, so we round that to a 3. How about fractions? Can we deal with fractions? We need to isolate the y term. We need to get rid of that plus 4, so how about we subtract 4, but whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we have 1/2 y equals -5. I don't want that 1/2 y there. One way I can get rid of it is to multiply by something. What can I multiply that 1/2 by so that it will leave me with just a y on the left-hand side? If I multiply by 2, or 2 over 1, the reciprocal of 1/2, any number times its reciprocal equals 1. And that'll leave me with 1y or just y. But if I'm going to multiply the left-hand side by 2 over 1, I have to multiply the right-hand side by 2 over 1 too. You don't have to write the over 1, but I was just trying to emphasize the fact that it's the reciprocal of 1/2. And that gives us our answer of y equals -10, which we can substitute back into the original problem and see if it gives us the correct answer. Let's go ahead and do that this time. 1/2 times a -10 plus 4, does that equal a -1? Well, that's -5 plus 4, does that equal a -1? Yeah, that's a -1. So it does check. It's a good idea to check your answers. What about this problem? What do you want to get rid of first? I don't like that -3 there. How can I get rid of it? Let's add 3 to both sides. So we have 4/7 x equals 8. I don't want that 4/7 there. How can I get rid of it? One way to think of it is to multiply by its reciprocal. So we'll multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 4/7. On the left-hand side, the 4's will cancel, the 7's will cancel, and we'll have just x. That's wonderful. On the right-hand side, 4 will go into 8 2 times, and 2 times 7 is 14. So that's our solution. And that's all for this section. Go to the next section where we can look at the application problems.